Slugoo! Hey, I wanted to talk about this real quick. I've been meaning to talk about Xbox things. Anything Xbox. Just, I'm trying to cement the fact that I'm not a Nintendo fanboy, because I'm pretty sure I've talked too much about Nintendo. A little too much. I'm going to probably still talk about Nintendo, but I've talked too much. But I was reading a story, an article, and I was just like, I just kind of wanted to give my 2 cents on it, and say how I feel about the Xbox brand in general. I wouldn't say I hate it. My problem isn't really with the Xbox brand so much as Microsoft themselves. I have a hard time trusting them. But there was this, the Microsoft CEO, he wants to, innovate. He wants to quote delight gamers with the Xbox. This is a stark contrast. Everything. I don't even want to read through all of this. I'll just go ahead and put a link in the description. But basically, and I don't know how to pronounce this guy's name. Microsoft CEO Satya Nadella. I'm not sure what language, what dialect that is. I'm not sure. But he's champion. He championed. This is an old story, by the way. It's old now. It was on the 10th of this month when this article was released. But I've been meaning to talk about it. I read through it again today, and I was like, yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and talk about this. He champions the Xbox brand in a memo that he sent to all the company employees. He laid out his vision for the upcoming fiscal year. The email was titled "Bold Ambitions and Our Core." He puts a focus on the Xbox about halfway through the 3,000+ word manifesto. Nadella defends the Xbox division, explaining the importance of the brand. The single biggest digital life category. Now, hang on, let me just back up for a second. I think the reason he even did this was there was early stuff where there was like, we were thinking he would do away with I think it was him. We thought he would do away with the Xbox brand. Some people actually were hoping. I don't know why. I think it was what do you call those guys? I've talked about them before. The investors. I think they were calling for. They're calling for Microsoft to just drop the console thing, get out of the console race, go back to just focusing on operating systems and software and so forth, because that's where they made a lot of money beforehand. But and they do lose out a little bit of money now. But I think after some statements he might have made at one point, I can't remember what the statements are, and I'm gonna have to find out what that is. But anyhow, basically he goes through all this, he talks about all this, and he goes through talking about how, let's see, he said, well, for one, he said, we're in this to win. And basically a lot of positive thing, more focused on video games, that's for sure. Actual video games. But, yeah, well, I'm going to link to the story. I don't want to have to sit here and read through the whole thing. But basically, especially since I've already used up over 3 minutes. Basically, though, it's a stark contrast to when they first launched the Xbox One. And I think Microsoft is finally starting to get it. They're finally starting to get it. And they should be getting it. But at first, it's a stark contrast in that when they announced the Xbox One, which I still think that's a really stupid name. Sorry, it's about as stupid as Wii. I'm sorry. I know people are going to hate me, but Xbox One? I've said this before. I know people who were confused and thought I was talking about the first Xbox. Like, what do you think about the Xbox One? I already had one of those. I got rid of it. What are you talking about? I was like, you got rid of an Xbox One? Why? It was old. Wait, are you talking about the first Xbox, or are you talking about Xbox One? Aren't they the same? Yeah, I get this kind of stuff. But at first, there was this huge focus from Microsoft. They're trying to do this. The reason it's even called Xbox One is all in one. I rolled my eyes so hard at that. I was like, why are you doing this? And I've said before, they need to stop trying to be clever. Nintendo needs to stop trying to be clever with these names. Microsoft shouldn't be any more clever. I think the only ones who do naming properly and I know people are like, people make jokes about it, but I think it's a good call. It's the PlayStation brand. It's every new PlayStation is PlayStation whatever. You know, PlayStation 4 at this point. We'll probably have a PlayStation 20 somewhere down the line, maybe, depends. Depends on how many more PlayStations till we reach that peak of graphics perfection. Because it will happen. But they're the only ones that do naming right. And I'm so sick of the cleverness because it's not really, it backfires in my opinion. Especially with the Wii U. People, all know what happened there. But Xbox, they did this thing where it's like they're focused on all this other stuff. And I'm like, why are you focusing on all these really retarded things that nobody cares about? You should be going after the core audience, the actual gamers, first and foremost. That's what they should have done to begin with. Broke out of the gate, talked about nothing but video games, talked about the console's capabilities, things such as that. They shouldn't have, when I say capabilities, I don't mean the crap that they did. It was, what was it? It basically is just a fancy pass-through for cable boxes. A fancy pants pass-through. It's like you hooked your cable box to it and used it to play videos through it or some crap. It was weird. But that's not what they should have focused on to begin with. And I think they're getting it now. Video games should have been the focus to begin with. That's what Sony did this time around. They basically focused on on the PS4 as being a console first and foremost. A powerful, not super powerful, but pretty powerful console first and foremost, and anything else second. Anything else second. And Microsoft did the opposite at first. They focused on everything but the video games at first. Then later on they figured out. Another problem that I have with the Xbox One, or I just keep calling it the XBO, is that, where was my train of thought? Oh, it's really not the console itself. It's not the console's fault that it was like that. I blame Big Daddy Microsoft. He didn't raise that kid right. Some bad genetics going on there. The whole DRM crap. People don't like that. It's not, internet isn't there yet. Internet's probably never going to be there as long as the FCC gets their way. You better watch my other video having to do with the FCC. Watch it. Watch it and sign. Okay, we need to protect the internet. But if the internet isn't protected, we're not going to see a lot of stuff. DRM will be useless. Downloading games, because eventually that's what's going to happen. It's going to be nothing but downloading games. The internet. Video games are going to be gotten from there. But I can guarantee you these companies aren't going to want to pay a stipend. That's what I'm calling it. They don't want to pay them money each for all their users to get their content through each provider. Because then what? As an example, Nintendo will be paying Comcast, Verizon, Time Warner, Cox, all these different providers. They're going to have to pay each one of them to allow us to get full access and full speed to their downloads for the consoles, their future consoles. It will be a disaster. I can tell you that right now. It would be a disaster for them and it would be a disaster for us. But the DRM stuff won't work because of this kind of stuff. DRM was a bad idea. The way they went about it was a bad idea. They're not even looking at how Steam works. Steam is getting to where you can actually think they have there's a way to share games with people. There's a way to have like this family setup thing. There's, where you share between accounts. You buy a game and other people in the family can play it. Whoever you select to play it, to be able to own it too. There's a thing where they were talking about at one point where you'd be able to trade in games, sell games, and things such as that. But that's what they should have learned from. And then there's the sales. The sales that Steam has. And that's... Hang on, just 1 second, my mouth is drying out. But that's the issue here. When it comes to this stuff we're not ready yet. That's the main thing. People aren't ready for it yet. DRM is a bad idea. Everything that Microsoft pulled, they retracted. And it's really hard. People talk smack about them for doing so, but then they're like, "Well, good job. I'm glad you did it." The problem is they shouldn't have done it to begin with. They should have waited. I didn't see. Well, there's hints and clues that say Sony was going to do the same thing. And I'll be honest, and this isn't coming as a Nintendo fanboy. This isn't coming. But I didn't see Nintendo doing it at all. I think they would have stayed back. And that's just me. But when it comes to the Xbox brand, I don't know. I wanted one at first. Oh, that's right. The Microsoft CEO has at first we thought he would spin off the Xbox business. At first, that's what I was forgetting about. I'm glad it's right there in front of me. But yeah, so I don't know. I didn't get an Xbox, the very first Xbox. Didn't get that. I never got a 360. And I never got I'm probably not going to get an Xbox One. My main problem, and I've said this before, is that it feels like I'm playing it feels like I'm playing PC games when I play it on an Xbox. And I have a PC. Why do I need an Xbox? My PC is significantly powerful than the Xbox One. Much more significantly. And I'm fixing to be getting a 6-core processor and stuffing in the thing. Right now it's only 3, but I've got like 12 gigs of RAM in there. DDR3. And then the video card is pretty fantastic. I play a lot of games and they look tons better, run tons better than they would on any of the consoles, even the ones that are out now. Anyhow, this video is just getting out of hand, going on and on and on. 11 minutes is a bit much. That's enough. But yeah, I want to talk about them a bit. Will I ever get an Xbox One? I don't know. I'm considering it. I am considering it. I never say no. I know for sure I would want to get a PS4, and I've already got a Wii U. And, yeah. But, alright, this has been the Goof! You all have a fantastic, whatever time of the day it is for you. And I will talk to you all again. Okay, bye now.